Hello and welcome to episode 88 of Out of State DMing. I'm your host, lluksblackheart. Both my co-hosts are currently not available at this time, even though my dog wants to give me plenty of love now. He's a giant love bug. No, you cannot steal the show. Um, but we will be finishing. We will be continuing our discussion on spells. This last left off last week, we were discussing uh, the basic. Goose, please lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Thank you. Thank you. Stay. 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 Uh, Hi, Saint. We briefly went over the detect spells that work on alignment. Uh, and yeah, detect magic is pretty much the same spell, except it's magical auras, and it works the exact same as the other detect spells. So your detect evil, your detect good. Goose, please stop. Not the time. No. No. Sad face Mickey. Yes, everyone, he's... lay down. Uh, the dog's trying to be sad now. But I was saying, detect magic works the same. It has the... So I scroll a little too high up. Same radius, 60 feet. Cone shaped. No saving throw, no spell resistance. The thing that is different is instead of it being up to 10 minutes per caster level, it's concentration up to 1 minute to caster level. So it doesn't last as long, but it does the same thing. It tells you if you study enough time, the presence or absence of magical auras, the number of different magical auras and the power levels, the strength and location of them, duration of lingering auras from magical items that pass through, the relative functioning spell level or magical item on whether if it's like faint, moderate, strong, overwhelming. So like I said, it works pretty much the same. So there's really nothing to actually cover. The next detection spell is Detect Poison. The catch with this one, it is a divination, 0 level cleric, druid, first level paladin, first level ranger, 0 level sorcerer, wizard spell. Components: verbal, semantic. Casting time: 1 standard action. Range: close. Target or area is 1 creature, 1 object, or a 5-foot cube. Duration: instantaneous. Saving throw: none. Spell resistance: none. Description: you determine whether a creature, object, or area has been poisoned or is poisonous. You can determine the exact type of poison with a DC 20 wisdom check. A character with craft alchemy skill may try a DC 20 craft alchemy check. If the wisdom check fails, or may try the craft check prior to the wisdom check. The spell can penetrate barriers, but 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, or 1 thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood / dirt blocks it. So unlike the other detect spells that have a bigger radius and a longer duration, this is this person or person, object, or 5-foot location poisonous to some degree. So it's limited to area of effect and time. So if you want to double check to see if like 5 different things are poisonous, you have to pretty much cast it more. So it takes a lot more castings, but it's still a decent spell. Uh, but it's also a spell that's not really used because a lot of people have the mindset of, yes, Saint, technically alcohol is considered poison. It is technically a toxin, which means if you cast detect poison on a mug of ale, it's going to come up as a toxin. Because technically, alcohol is poison. And I'm pretty sure your next question is, does neutralize poison, delay poison, and or poison immunity counteract alcohol? Yes, because it's a poison. So if you have immunity to poisons or a resistance to poisons, you're not going to be very fun when it comes to drinking games or parties with that particular character, because your character is going to be able to resist the effects of alcohol a lot more than everyone else, but prior to being either immune to it or just highly resistant to it. And if you're under the effects of neutralized poison or delay poison, same thing. You're delaying and better resisting how long the effects hit you, or you're just flat out looking at it and going, ha, I'm not being affected because I have this. So there is slight loopholes to counteracting alcohol. But that's a thing a lot of people don't quite realize or actually care about because a lot of people don't consider that particular thing poison. But detect poison can still help you determine certain things. Like if you think someone might have a poison thing, you can hit them with it. And like I was saying before, I had to answer a very obvious question. um, One of the reasons why a lot of people don't care about casting detect poison, utilizing detect poison, is the terminology of, if I get poisoned, I get poisoned. That's how I know the thing is poisonous. So they don't actually care about knowing if it's poisonous because they automatically assume it is because it's a giant spider. Of course, it's going to be poisonous. Or, yeah, I know that's a poison apple because that person bit it and now they're dead. Why do I need to cast detect poison? They use the we know because it's affecting someone method instead of any prepping. Just like when we covered a few episodes ago, delay poison. A lot of people try to use it after the fact, not before. This helps you know that you need to cast a spell, delay poison, ahead of time, or at least that you should cast it before someone gets boomed because you can verify that there's some sort of poison happening. But just like with that spell, a lot of people are like, I'm going to wait till I get poisoned to verify if I'm poisoned, which kind of defeats the purpose of casting the spell. But if there's any more questions about detect poison, please leave a comment. Dun dun dun. The next spell is Detect Scrying. This particular one is a little bit more complicated than the other spells, but it has spells and it doesn't quite work the exact same way. It is a divination, 4th level bard, 4th level sorcerer wizard spell. It does get, its components are verbal semantic material, 1 standard casting time, range 40 feet, area 40-foot radius emission centered on you, which can be confusing because you can't drop it 40 feet away. It just extends out to 40 feet because it's centered on you, the caster. Yes, some spells are weird like that. But what it does for the duration of 24 hours with no saving throw or spell resistance is it pretty much does what the namesake tells you. The description. You immediately become aware of any attempts to observe you by means of divination, scrying, spell, or effect. This spell radiates from you and moves as you move. You know the location of every magical sensor within the spell's aura. If the scrying attempt originates within the aura, you also know its location. Otherwise, you and the scryer immediately make opposed caster checks, which is a DC 20 plus caster level. If you at least match the scryer's result, you get a visual image of the scryer and an accurate sense of his or hers direction and distance from you. Material component: a small piece of mirror and a miniature brass hearing trumpet. Which pretty much what this spell means is for its duration, if someone casts scrying on you, you go, I'm being scryed. So it's like immediately right there. A lot of people don't use this spell because they don't ever think they're going to be scryed, no matter what they're fighting or what major bad guy they're going against. They just don't use this spell. Don't ask me why, because if you're fighting something that's capable of casting scrying, it's generally good to know if they're spying on you via the scrying spell. Which, when we get to S's, we'll be able to cover scrying and how effective it can be. But this immediately goes, I'm being scryed. It doesn't stop them from scrying on you, but it goes, I'm being observed through scrying. And if you match or beat their caster level check, you know roughly what direction they're in. Okay, question. You mean hit them with your own scrying? Yeah, because the question, if you can see an opponent using a scrying spell and had the range, could you hit them with that spell? Because technically, yeah, if you pass the check and you see their face, because it says you gain a visual image of the scryer and an accurate sense of their direction and distance, you can then know that, okay, it's within my own attempts of scrying, so I'm going to scry them in return. So yes, you can technically scrying. You know exactly what they look like, so you can reverse scry and go, ha, we're looking at each other's. So yeah, you can immediately scry them back. And a thing that a lot of people don't quite understand is if you beat that check, because it tells you the direction and distance. If you're trying to find the evil lich's base and you go, okay, I'm high level, I'm going to have T-Tech Scrying. It's going to work for 24 hours. So you cast this spell at the beginning of each day, which means every single day you know if you're being scryed upon. And that's another thing that a lot of people for some reason don't get is you're not casting it repetitively. You're just casting it once per day. You don't need to cast it 20 times, 30 times, or 100 times. No, you cast it once. It has a 40-foot radius. It lasts 24 hours. So for that entire day, if a scrying is being active within the effect of detect scrying, which technically means if you enter an area that's being scryed, it still works. If someone else within that range is being scryed upon, it still works. So you can know if you or anyone in the party, or for some reason the location you're at, is being scryed upon, because the scrying's the location, person, or thing that's being scryed upon, it's within the effective range of detect scrying. So you can go, we're being observed. Pass check. That's definitely a lich, and he's about 200 miles that way. Does the lich go, oh crap, he knows that I'm scrying him. He knows what direction I'm in. Oh, better get prepared because they're going to come right this way. Do people do that? No. They assume that they're never going to be scryed. And the amount of campaigns I ran where the bad guy literally used scrying spells to observe the party would have gone drastically differently if they used detect scrying. Like, inside my in-person Thursday game, the main bad guy the party's trying to thwart and do stuff with, it's doing all sorts of planning and stuff, and is staying one step ahead of the party because he's scrying the party. They have nothing to stop him from scrying. And because they have several items that he can key in on, it's really easy for him to scry. Okay, another question. It's not a ring, it's the Amulet of Non-Detection. Because the Amulet of Non-Detection protects you against all divination spells. Regardless of the divination spell, if it's a divination spell, it flips it off, and the spell can't work on you. And that's good for rather if you're a rogue, a fighter. I mean, it doesn't matter what your class is. An item that directly makes you invisible to such spells is greatly important. And it's not even a super expensive or a super hard to get item. It's relatively common and affordable to a point that you're not going to be like, okay, we're level 15, we can afford it. No. You're like, I'm level 5, I can most likely afford it. So you can get it relatively early on. And if you have that, you don't care about scrying because you can't be scryed. And if you're in the zone of that's being scryed, it doesn't pick you up. So the person scrying go, hey, there's must be some sort of invisible or non-detection person there because, hey, I'm viewing this person, I'm getting information on them, and they're talking and interacting like there's someone right there. Look, he just got handed something. I can see that something now, but I can't see who handed it to them. They must be protected from scrying somehow. So yes, there is other ways to counteract scrying. But it doesn't stop the fact that not everyone goes for that item. I'm not even kidding. The amount of people who get the option to get it or get it in a treasury and decided, well, not treasury, they get it as loot and then they decided to get rid of it. It's like, that's really, really good. And unless you're trying to go for a specific other amulet, that is, stop that dog, still a pretty good amulet to have. So unless you don't care about being scryed or detecting, then yay. But detect scrying is still really good, whether you're protected or not, because A, you become aware that someone's scrying on you. If you beat the check, you know who, based on the pretty much mental image you get of them, that, hey, this person is scrying on us. They're in that direction, roughly this far away. It's really, really good. And it is a spell that I can't remember last time someone actually used it at all. And it's because they think that it doesn't have a radius, that it's a self only. They think that it's a short-lived spell, despite the fact that it's 24 hours. That's a long-lived spell. That's an extremely long-lived spell. And if you use certain meta magic feats or a rod of meta magic feat extend, you're casting it every 2 days instead of every single day. So it's like, so no matter what, it's a really good spell. But no one actually ever uses it because they just don't care or think about it. That being said, if there's any questions about detect scrying, please leave a message. The next spell is, of course, another detect spell because there's a lot of detect spells. This is detect secret doors. This is, again, divination. It's a level 1 bard, knowledge domain, sorcerer wizard spell. When we get to that spell, I'll go over it because we are in D's. Status is in S's. So I'm not going to skip an entire section of the book to go to S's because that's a lot of spells we're skipping. I will eventually get to that spell. But thank you for commenting. This Detect Secret Doors is a verbal semantic. Casting time, standard action, range 60 feet, aura, cone-shaped mission, duration, concentration up to 1 minute a level, no saving throw, no spell resistance. Description: you can detect secret doors, compartments, caches, and so forth. Only passenger doors or openings that have been specifically constructed to escape detection are detected by this spell. An ordinary trap door underneath a pile of crates would not be detected. The amount of information revealed depends on how long you study a particular area, which works just like a lot of other spells. Round 1, it's the absence or presence of secret doors. Round 2, number of secret doors, the locations. If an aura is outside the line of sight, then the direction, or then you discern its direction, but not its exact location. Each additional round, the mechanisms or triggers for the particular secret door. Portal closely examined by you. Each round, you can turn a direction. Turn detect secret doors to a new area. The spell can penetrate barriers, but just like with all the other spells, a foot of stone, a inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt blocks it. Now, just like this spell points out, because this is still a pretty decent spell, is a normal trapdoor that just has something on it. The spell won't tell you what it is. You might go, but it's hidden. It's only hidden because an object was put in front of it. Or, well, technically this is a trapdoor, because an object was put on it. It has to be a door, a passageway, something that's deliberately designed to be hidden. So if you move a bunch of crates and there is no trapdoor, but the but the detect secret door is saying there's one there, it means it was built into the ground to not be easily found without someone actually being able to find it via the spell or a well-trained rogue. So the spell only works on actual concealed things, not things that are just simply covered up. It's kind of like there's no secret door if you pass by a wall and the wall has ivy all growing over it, and the ivy technically is concealing a door, but the door itself isn't designed to be blended in. It's a door. You move the ivy, there's a door. The ivy doesn't make the spell work because the ivy is just simply covering the door. But hidden doors, hidden entrances to passageways, a hidden safe built into the wall, those particular things there that have an opening that's, again, deliberately designed, specifically constructed to escape detection. Those are what it picks up. And a thing that a lot of people, for some reason, confuse about this spell is instead of actually reading the spell, because, well, read your spells, is they go, oh, I can detect secret doors as a rogue, so I'm going to do search checks. It's like, it's slightly better than that because you're not actually having to roll a check. You just simply point face in that direction, and it's a 60-foot cone. And if anything's within inside your preview of that 60 feet, it just, there it is. No check, no anything. And a lot of people mess that up. And all it really does is, oh, fine, I guess I won't use that spell ever. It's like, don't mess up on a spell and then diss the spell and say you're never going to use it again. The spell works perfectly fine. You just have to use the spell correctly. But if you have any particular questions about detect secret doors, please leave a comment. Hi, Bacon. Are you
I am
doing
late,
okay?
but I have ice cream.
Did you
What?
just did you say you're eating ice cream?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's why I'm late. I was getting ice cream.
Well, I figured it was for something important. We just got done with detect secret doors. Uh, which is a spell I don't ever recall you using because you have other people to find secret doors for you.
Yep, that's what the rogues are for. And if they fail at it, well, we just nuke everything around us.
Tactical
Well,
nuke
one way or
inbound.
another.
What's that?
Yep.
Way too many fireballs. Uh,
Like
but
last night, this room is too small for Fireball. I didn't stutter. Fireball.
disease, fireball. We're all cleared. You can't be diseased if you've been incinerated by a fireball. Uh, now the next spell is Saint. You have to remember, in order to counterspell, you have to actively have the readied action to counterspell. And counterspelling is complicated, diluted, and a little bit stupid, mainly because you have to have the spell prepped, as in if you know if he's going to cast fireball, you have to ready action to cast fireball to counter his fireball, or you have to have dispel magic and use dispel magic to counterspell. It gets real stupid real quick, and it's technically you ready an action to counterspell, unless you somehow gain ability to, as a uh, reaction to a spell being cast, counterspell. It's one reason why I hate counterspelling. It's stupid and can make you waste all your spells. Which I'm partly happy a certain individual isn't trying to constantly counterspell anything, because not everything can be counterspelled.
If I couldn't tank it, I'd be worried. I can tank it.
Yeah. But detect snares and pits, like I said, it's a divination. It is a first level druid ranger spell. Are you saying? Are you referring to the metamagic feat quicken? Because one, that only works on spells that can be that have a normal casting time for one standard action, and two, it turns into a free action, which still has to be done on your turn. It doesn't let you use a free action on your opponent's turn. All it does is lets you cast a second spell during your turn. That's what Quicken Spell does, which is relatively broken because two spells a turn is better than one. But it also increases the spell slot by like 4. So any spell you're casting, you raise what spell slot you're spending to cast it by 4 points, which means it can only work on up to 5th level spells unless you get the rod. But yet, yeah, trying to do stuff on other people's terms. Um, Back to detect snares and pits. Uh, this is a verbal semantic. One casting time, standard action, range 60 feet, aura, cone shaped emissions from you, from where you're looking. Duration is concentration up to 10 minutes at caster level. No saving throw, no spell resistance. Description: you can detect simple pits, deadfalls, and snares, as well as mechanical traps constructed of natural material. This spell does not detect complex traps, including trapdoors. Detect snares and pits does not uh, certain natural hazards, quicksand, a snare, and a sinkhole, a pit, or unsafe walls of natural rock, a deadfall. Well, it does detect certain ones. My brain tried to reword a word there. However, it does not reveal other potential dangers, conditions such as a cavern that floods during rain, an unsafe construction, or a natural poisonous plant. This spell does not detect magical traps, except those that operate by pit, deadfall, or snaring, which you have to see the spell snare. Nor mechanically complex ones, nor does that have been, or nor those who have been rendered safe or inert, which pretty much means if a rogue deactivated it or did something to make the natural thing not a threat anymore, it won't pick it up because it's no longer functional. The amount of information revealed depends on how long you study a particular area. So right there, it affects the same as any other detect spell. Starts at the presence or absence of the hazard, the number of the hazards, and the locations. If it's outside your line of sight, the direction, not the exact location. Each additional round, you can get a type and trigger for one particular hazard, closely examined by you. So it focuses on natural based traps, not overly mechanical ones or magical ones that don't have anything to do with natural surroundings. So, like for instance, a fireball trap. It's not going to tell you there's a fireball trap. Uh, Quicksand counts as a snare, sinkhole, a pit, or unsafe walls or natural rocks, deadfalls. So, pretty much things like that. Not here's some mechanical things for a pressure plate that activates a rock that follows you down like you're Indiana Jones. That's not considered natural. That's highly artificial because, again, mechanical thing to trigger this that throws this rock at you. So it's not the best spell because it doesn't pick up on a lot of traps, but it's still a decent spell because if you're in a campaign where the DM is relying on natural based snares and pits to hinder, slow down, or just challenge the party, this can help you because the DM's using the environment to do these things and not relying on overcomplicated shenanigans. Voila, you have a spell that can help
Excuse
you
me.
with it. Uh, that being said, the only times I've actually seen anyone use it has been it's like you're in a dungeon and they want to see if there's any like traps designed to make them fall down or anything like that. It's like you're in a dungeon, nothing there's natural. It The environment you're in is not natural. You're in a dungeon. All the traps aren't going to be natural traps. They're going to be elaborate mechanical traps or magical traps. And again, that's where a lot of people have cast this spell thinking that it works because they their interpretation of what counts as a trap is, well, it's a spike trap. It's technically using natural materials. When it's like natural materials were used to create the spears, yes, but they're no longer natural materials because they're considered work materials. They like to try to stretch it and then get pissed off
Yeah, but
because
so my point here would be is if it's a spike trap, technically it was still natural materials used because you had to dig the hole into the earth.
if it
The
was
hole
just
itself is a natural material.
if it was just like a hole with some stuff on it that you would fall into, I could probably go, okay, it's weight based, not based on mechanical tractions or anything like that. Okay, yeah, you step on it, you fall down because it's your weight that activates it. Spike trap is a lot more complicated than that. It's not just digging the material away so you can put the spikes in. It's adding the mechanism that launches the spikes out. That's mechanical, not natural. The mechanism that triggers it, mechanical, not natural. A pit trap with spikes on the bottom of it that still relies on your weight to activate it, because like your weight causes the floor to fall out. Okay, I could probably give you that. Because it's counts as a deadfall. But the moment you're adding mechanisms to it to trigger the trap, no. Because
I
again,
don't know. I
it,
I
it's
could see where I could see where there would be a valid argument there.
well, it's adding mechanical components to it, and the spell does state that
Right.
by adding those mechanical components to it, it's no longer a natural trap.
Yeah, but there's still the spell also states is that it picks up if there's natural components.
By that state, what did I just press on my thing? Oh. By that particular argument, you change the definition because all traps now count unless it's a magical trap.
Right.
Metal, it's a natural material, but it's despite being worked. If it has wood in it, if it has stone in it, now the trap is
Correct.
detecting every single type of trap, including complex traps, even though it says it does not detect complex traps, including trap doors.
I
So,
mean, to be fair, short of being a magical trap, I could see the argument there.
like I said, you change the definition of complex traps at that point because, again, if we're throwing out magical traps, all traps use some form of natural material in its construction, which means
Right.
in order for the spell to function like that, the part of the sentence where it says it does not detect complex traps, including trap doors, needs to be removed because those include natural material.
Listen, all I'm saying is you could have it detect every single trap, and you'll still have people who would still fall for it because they're stupid or they suck at rolls.
It stupid people. You can't help stupid people.
Well, we can,
Yeah, well,
just not legally. Baseball bats
lobotomies
help
aren't
stupid
legal
people.
anymore.
Sure, they are.
Actually, no, they're not.
You just have to stretch the definition of lobotomy.
Yeah, switch it from what you actually want to. Oh no, it's doing this. He has a very bad itch, and we're trying to clean his tear duct.
He just really, really
Medical
needed his brain itched.
malpractice. You
I didn't say I was a doctor, much less a good one.
know, yeah. Um, but no, if people are going to try to stretch the definition of natural materials to include complex traps, then I can say, well, if the DM's going to approve it, the DM's going to approve it. It's the DM. If he wants to ignore part of that particular paragraph, it's the DM's prerogative.
Well, my rebuttal here would be: is there a spell to detect complex traps?
I'm pretty sure there is, but we would have to get to it. Because I'm
So
pretty
you're
sure
not
there's
even
a
sure.
trap.
You're not even sure that there is.
Well, the spell I'm thinking of, because I'm pretty sure there is a spell that mimics trap finding, which would be either the spell would probably be under F for like find traps or something like that, or under T's for it. Because you also have to remember, you're not going to care about detecting snares or pits because you already have something to negate it, can't survive it, or why isn't the
No,
rogue
but this
doing
is
their
this
job?
is this is a valid argument for people at home. It's just if if especially if you're starting out in a campaign, like in the beginning of our campaign, that would have been very fucking handy to not have multiple dead party members because of one trap that just was well
Well,
placed and people are stupid.
the two traps that were actually used at decimated parties weren't natural traps at all. You had a
Right,
scythe trap
but this is where again this is
and a
why
spell.
my argument, my rebuttal to this is about they're about having a spell for quote unquote complex traps.
Uh, if that's, like I said, is my brain says, I'm pretty sure it does exist. If it exists, it's going to be higher than level 1.
Right.
It's probably
So
going to be a level 3 or level 4 spell. Which means that early
I don't know.
on, it's not necessarily helping. Because if you can't cast a level 3 spell, it doesn't help you. The
I don't
shenanigans.
know, man. I'm just saying that level 1 would be top tier, cuz technically everything is made out of natural
Yeah.
material.
Well, that's why I said if you're going to stretch the definition of it to include particular things, then a lot of spells um, affect a lot more things than what they technically are supposed to be affecting. Those particular spells, we would have to get to them as we run into them. But the obstacle for detect snares and pits is, if at all it counts as a complex trap, it doesn't work on it. Which is somewhat funny because a trap door, they count as a complex trap. There's a trap door is technically, depending on what version you're using, it's just a door on the ground. While the other version is you step on this and you fall through.
Right.
So it's like, so that particular thing can be back and forth on that. There's trapdoors being trapdoors. But it still doesn't really defeat the almost said purpose, the that particular limitation. Not to mention the fact that if you're playing a game where the druid and or ranger has to use detect snares and pits, either your DM's a dick who's constantly trying to screw you over, or your rogue isn't doing their job, or you
Sir,
don't have
you
one.
killed one of our battle mages in session 2 with a trap.
Yeah, but he knew the trap was there. Because you have to remember,
Fair.
it was triggered by
Not
someone
the point.
else, and he walked past the person who was going to try to deactivate it, and then got nearly cleaved in half.
Fair. Not the point.
Yeah, but since then, how many traps have you actually ran across that actually count as traps and not just a guy waiting to cast a spell on you?
Um, there was the tower.
Oh, you mean the tower that you made the entire hole? That's not where they're supposed to go, but just in case, there's supposed to be some decent traps up there. And of course, he does that. The deterrents no longer
I did,
deterrents because they ruined the entire tower by, taking 1/3 of it and having it no longer be there. Goose, can you stop?
listen.
Please.
I didn't. I'm not here to argue whether what I did was right. I just said we encountered the traps in the tower.
Yeah, so like two sessions when there was traps. Do you have any more game sessions?
I'm sure I could think of a few if you give me a little bit of time.
You know you're not supposed to be sitting right there because you're on my stuff. Can you please get off? You are not a cat.
He could be whatever he wants to be. He's a good boy.
Yeah, and he's looking at me like he's sad and pathetic. Stop. You're on camera. I hope you know. This is gonna be on the internet forever, dog. No, does not mean start crawling on the book. The book is older than you. Stop. Stop. But now that we've beaten this spell to death, if anyone has any questions about detect snares and pits, please leave a
It's only
comment.
beaten to death because you have arguments and I don't agree.
No, you just want definitions to be expanded upon to include things that don't fit within it.
Lies and slander.
Hey, don't. That's my catchphrase. Don't steal my catchphrase. The next spell is a spell that no one ever gets right, and they want to cause arguments with it because they think. Saint, I don't know if you are actually listening to it, but it specifically says it does not detect magical traps. The only rule magical traps it can detect would be those such as the spell Snare. So it has to be a spell that manipulates the actual environment itself to be used as a trap. Sometimes I don't think you listen, Saint. No, but I said the spell that a lot of people want to cause arguments with, and it primarily because they don't read the frickin' spell. And I haven't actually had you try to argue with this spell because you haven't used it. Detect thoughts. This is a divination, mind affecting spell. That's a second level bard, second level knowledge domain, second level sorcerer wizard. Components: verbal,
To be fair,
semantic. The what?
I don't have to. I don't have to argue it because I don't ever detect thoughts when we're with the party.
I mean,
There ain't a
yeah,
fucking thing going on in those brains.
yeah, that does happen a lot. A mind flayer would starve. They said the components are verbal, semantic, focus / divine focus. Casting time, standard action, range 60 feet, area effect, cone shaped, duration, concentration up to 1 minute level. Saving throw will negates. See text. Spell resistance, no. Description: you detect surface thoughts. Okay.
Mm.
I love the fact that you asked that, Saint, as I was saying, you detect surface thoughts. You typed that at the same time I was reading that. Yeah, it does say you detect surface thoughts. The amount of information revealed depends on how long you study a particular area or subject. Round 1. The presence or absence of thoughts from conscious creatures with intelligence scores of 1 or higher. Round 2. The number of thinking minds and the intelligence score of each. If the highest intelligence score is 26 or higher, and at least 10 points higher than your own intelligence score, you are stunned for 1 round and the spell ends. So you don't want to try to. We'll get to it with the spell. And if a spell doesn't get it, I will give a slightly better definition of that for you, Saint. Because surface thoughts are. Some people go too far with it. Uh, yeah, this spell does not let you determine the location of thinking minds if you can't see the creature whose thoughts you are detecting. Round 3, surface thoughts of any mind in the area. A target's will save prevents you from reading the thoughts, and you must cast detect thoughts again to have another chance. Creatures of animal intelligence, which is 1 or 2, have simple, instinctual thoughts that you can pick up. Each round, you can turn to detect thoughts in a new area. The spell can penetrate barriers, but 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood, or 3 feet of dirt blocks it. Arcane focus, a copper piece. Now, when it talks about surface thoughts, it's not memories. It's not deep-seated things in the back of your mind. It's not your subconscious. It's more what you're technically currently thinking of right now. For instance, my surface thoughts are
Potato
about
chips.
detect thoughts because that's there.
Really thinking about boobs right now. I'm trying to manifest them.
Yeah. So if you know something is using detect thoughts, because like, oh, that wizard over there is known for trying to pry onto what people are currently thinking about openly. Um, Technically, if you want to walk around with lead plate armor, you could go through the process of spending a lot of money for lead. You have to remember, lead is not common, nor is it cheap. And it also has to be an inch thick.
I mean, you can also just walk around thinking about,
Boobs.
boobs. That'll usually throw most people off their game.
Yeah. Like, if like a mind flare pops up and your surface thoughts are, it's the song that never ends. It goes on
Now all
and
of a sudden,
on
the mind
and
flayer is singing with you.
yeah, the mind flare is easy. You're gonna get a migraine and go, "Oh dear God, I hate that person," because I literally made a DM cry of laughter when I did that. Or it's going to go, "Oh, that's a catchy tune." Oh God, it's gonna be stuck on my mind forever. So, yeah,
Great. Now I'm gonna die with the song that never ends playing.
but pretty much. So it's pretty much the thoughts you currently are thinking of. So if you start thinking about like the time you stubbed your toe in kindergarten and how much it hurt, those are your surface thoughts of that painful experience of you stubbing your toe when you're in kindergarten. If you're thinking about the first time you had a kiss, that's right up there. That's your surface thoughts because it's what you're technically actively thinking about. So it's not in detail like great things. You can get like someone thinking about like, should I turn left or should I go right? Should I go left or right? If there's a rogue sneaking around and you hear if I can, and you're gonna hear the thoughts of I'm almost to his back. I'm almost to his back. It's like okay, that's a surface thought because he's thinking about how he could sneak up behind you and stab you. stab you. It's like, I gotta stab this person here. The thoughts are, oh, he's gonna go stab someone that looks like this. So it's literally what they're currently thinking of. You had to say back shots. We are not going to call backstab back shots or sneak attack back shots. We're not gonna do it. That's a little too PG. Sneaky ones. Yeah. But like I said, it's literally after starting at round 3, you're detecting their surface thoughts. So it's like I said, starts off with like, okay, the absence or presence of conscious things that have thoughts. Then goes into the number of them and pretty much how intelligent they actually are to actually what they're thinking. Now, one of the things that starts arguments is people getting upset that a iron golem snuck up on the party when they had to detect thoughts on. Hey, Bacon, can you take a guess to why detect thoughts isn't going to alert you of an iron golem about ready to pimp slap the guy in the back of the party? Did you hear me, Bacon? Bacon, did you hear me?
2 seconds, Boba.
No, I asked you a question. It was just awkward silence for a moment. Do I need to repeat the? No, at that. I am banning a. Someone trying to get me to do bots. No, thank you. No. But like, for those who are watching, I'll answer this because he's probably enjoying his ice cream. You sneaky bastard. Is the creature has to have the name though. Yeah, the name of the spell is Detect Thoughts. An Iron Golem, just like any construct, doesn't have thoughts. So you're not going to pick up on the thoughts of an Iron Golem because it doesn't have thoughts. People have tried to argue about how the vampires that were hiding in the lair of the Lich shouldn't have been hiding because they should have picked up on their thoughts. It's an undead creature. Does it have intelligence score? Yes. Does it technically have thoughts? Yes. Problem is, this is a mind-affecting effect. Just like constructs, undead are immune to such things. There's been people going, what do you mean that the colossal spider that we were actually walking on happens to be what we were walking on? Why didn't I pick up its mind? Vermin are immune to mental effects. And they're considered to not have an intelligence score. So it's like it's a double whammy. And that has started arguments. Because people want to classify anything capable of making decisions as thoughts, which has some oomph to it, but at the same time, things that are considered mindless, immune to such things, or not have an intelligence score, the spell doesn't work on. So it has to have at least an intelligence score of 1. If it doesn't have an intelligence score of 1 or higher, it won't work on it, which means vermin and most undead. The Japanese. It starts with a J. It's Joromongo. Probably mispronouncing it slightly. But the Joromongos are. Yeah, that's a Japanese spider lady, or at least one of them. Why are you asking about Churumongos. That's a weird. We're talking about spells here and things that it doesn't work on. A Churumongo, depending on what version you're using, depends on if it works on or not. To some are classified as a ghost because it's a spirit, which means it works funnies, while most other ones are either an monstrous humanoid, an aberration, an outset. It gets weird. But like I said, the creature needs to have at least intelligence 1 or higher for detect thoughts. Most undead, which are pretty much your types of zombies or skeletons, don't have an intelligence score. If it has an intelligence score, doesn't mean an automatic boom because undead are immune to mind affecting effects. This is a mind affecting spell. Therefore, immune. Constructs are listed as not having an intelligence score for like 90% of them. The ones that do, it's like, okay, yeah, it means you have a smart construct. But they're constructs, therefore immune to mind affecting effects. Vermin are listed as being mindless and not have an intelligence score. If you run into a vermin that has an intelligence score, it's not considered mindless, and it's most likely not a vermin. It's a magical beast or some other creature typing, which means, yay, it's not doesn't have this or this. So to sum it up, people want to stretch what this spell can and cannot actually affect simply because they want to not think outside the box. They want spells to be 100% effective 100% of the time with no loopholes, no workarounds. They just want the spell to work, and they can and will get moody, argumentative, and because this actually has happened, resentful because the spell doesn't freaking work. But for those who watch this, if you have any if you have any questions about Detect Thoughts, please leave a comment. And due to time, that is our last spell we're going to cover today. So, assuming, thank you very much for those who joined us in chat. It's, even though sometimes they like to try to throw us off topic, it's still nice to see people interacting in chat. For those watching, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you next week for more spells.